Hey everybody, I am doing a live version of the Intuitive Insight. That's not even it. Never mind. Intuitive Journey with Desiree. Intuitive Insight process is my process. But this is live, so you get to catch me making mistakes. However, I can always edit this when it goes to podcast or Transformation TV. I'm here with Selena Valentine from New York City, and she came down for the NAF, that's the National Association of Transpersonal Hypnotherapists, annual conference this year. And I have just been having the best time.
I'm having a phenomenal time.
Isn't
so
it fun?
much fun.
Yeah.
I'm meeting so many new people. I'm learning so many new ideas. I just love being in that positive energy with other therapists. We're sharing, we're connecting, we're growing together, having fun.
Yeah.
The dinner banquet was great. So just having like a really lovely time.
Yeah, so it's my experience when I went to Hypno Biz last May in New York.
This May.
Was it this May? Time flies. And it's almost next May, and I'm going back again. But when I went this May and had known Selena, on virtually, but when I went there and got to meet so many, again, like Selena's saying, more like-minded people, more people to talk about this work with, and really expand my little soul group of like-minded people bubble. And so I hope you're getting some of that now, because I know you came down to NAF now for your first time, and there's a whole another little element of this, but they really complement each other.
Yeah, what I love about the NAF is that it's more spiritual.
There's a whole different,
it's more
new
spiritual,
feeling,
it's more psychic, it's more energy work. So it's a little different than any other conference that I've attended or that I put on. But I just love it. I love being in this space because I do believe there's more to this world universe than just us, these physical humans. There's definitely a spiritual component, energetic component, or higher power, source, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
And of course, those of you that actually follow my podcast or videos, I'm always saying, just like many other people, that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Exactly. And
so we chose this spot to do this little interview, and we are at the Edgar Cayce Center, ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment. And I believe he started it back in 1940 or 44, and then moved here to Virginia Beach, called by his vision that this place had good energy. And I think we're really feeling it. We're about to go into, she hasn't been to this one before, but she has visited the one that's
in New York.
In New
we have
York.
a nice one in New York, and I've been to that one.
And so we're about to go into the visitor center. Right now we're in the original building that he used here in Virginia Beach. And there really is, I think if people will take their time, we're always moving so fast and there's so much stuff going on around us. You can hear the kids coming in the other room now. But usually there's cars, there's our jobs, there's all this stuff we're supposed to do. And we don't take the time to experience that energy, And so right here, we really can feel it. We're in this beautiful sunny corner.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a beautiful day. It's surrounded by awesome energy.
Oh, so you feel the heat. It's just a great place right now.
I know. Yeah. So now that we provided everyone with a setting. Plus, we're you can't see it, too bad for you, but we have this beautiful view right over the rooftops of the Atlantic Ocean, just all the way up and down, right on the Atlantic Ocean. And just the energy of the ocean is so amazing. I love when I can come here.
Cleansing.
It's uncrowded. I love being able to look out and there's just nothing but the water and the sky. Yeah, especially from, how's that for you coming from the city? I mean,
it's a nice change of pace. I must say, waking up every day to the waves, to the ocean, I just feel recharged, refreshed, reinvigorated. It's just water. I think just water is very calming. It's purifying. So whenever you could wake up to water, I mean, it's just heavenly.
Yeah. Well, remind me I won't do it here too much because I had really a wonderful interview with, and I'll go blank on her name because, anyway, it was Dr. Emoto's assistant who was carrying on his work. And I hate it when I just decide to say somebody's name and it's not there. But she's a wonderful, amazing lady, and we talked about the power of water and all that. So we'll have that conversation.
That was a great experiment. intention that you set for water can actually change the molecular structure of the water if you're sending it positive energy or if you're sending it negative energy.
Just like that spoon bending, right?
Oh, yeah.
I should incorporate that into that whole thing, is even talking about the water. So, yes, we could, like, it's all about energy
like the
and
energy
these
that we get from
processes.
each other and all the ideas. It's like,
we've been having such good fun coming up with, like, oh, we could do this, oh, you should do that, wait, we do that and that together. Like, yes. Anyway, so Selena, I kind of know your story because we've talked before, but I want the audience to find out more about you. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about how you got into hypnosis and, you know, what you did as a practitioner and what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, I'm Selena D Valentine. I'm a certified hypnotist and instructor. I'm the founder of the Hypno Biz brand of conferences, which includes Hypno Biz New York, Hypno Biz Canada, Hypno Biz Europe, and Hypno Biz Australia. I'm also the founder of Women Hypnotists. We are an international community of over 2,200 women hypnotists from around the world in our Facebook group. And I'm also the founder of the Women Hypnotist Summit and Retreat, which is going to be in California. So it's all women hypnotists around the world that's going to share and grow and bond and connect. So I got started in hypnotherapy over a decade ago because I was a client. I was actually seeking hypnotherapy to help me with some issues in my life. And it worked so well for me that I said, you know, I need to learn this modality, this this process, so I can help other people that may be struggling in their lives or want to achieve their goals or don't really know how to use their mind power to affect their physical reality. And then my teacher, Melissa Tier, sent out a newsletter to do the training, and I jumped on it right away, and I opened my practice right away, so much so where I had 2 offices in Manhattan. At one point I had 5 employees. We've seen thousands of clients. We've been featured everywhere, major newspapers, television shows, everything like that. And it's just been a lot of fun, like the journey, the transformation of seeing people change. Like, I've seen so many clients' lives change for the better just through the power of their mind and hypnotherapy, and it's just so gratifying.
It's really, and I mean, obviously, I agree with you. It's really such a beneficial tool because, like, talk therapies, behavior modalities, I mean, I appreciate all of them, and I have certifications in, just all of them, but I like to incorporate them with the hypnosis and with energy work.
Yes.
Then you've got, it really can get in here, because just like affirmations, people can say affirmation, they can say it over and over again and then be frustrated because it's not working.
Yeah.
So until you get it shoved into that subconscious mind, which you get in the way of, you need help. You need help getting past that subconscious mind. That's what we can do.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, if more people on this planet knew the power of the subconscious mind, knew the power of energy, I just think the world would be a better place. We see in society sometimes people are blaming other people for their lot in life.
I like doing that sometimes too.
It's like, no one is doing anything to you. You're doing it to yourself. And you could always change your situation.
Change your situation, change the way you feel about it. Take personal power. That's
what it is. If you're blaming other people, then you're more of the victim. And if you're the victim, you can't really change. You have to be the victor. You have to take responsibility for yourself, knowing that you feel the way you feel because of your thoughts and what you're thinking, and that's given an effect in your body, and that will translate in your reality. So when you know that you're causing whatever it is happening in your life, and guess what? You can change it to cause something different. But it starts with that acknowledgement, like, nothing is happening to me. I can control my reality.
Yeah, and one of the things I do like to, tell people, it's like, because when I first, there are some people that will take this, you're creating your reality. It's, so if a woman gets raped, or something horrible happens, a bad car wreck, or some tragedy, and somebody will say, well, you created your reality, I want to go slap them, right? But what you can create is your response to when bad things happen, because any of us could stay a victim. Bad things happen, right? But then you can use that as, like, how am I going to respond to this? I'm going to choose to respond in the way that is best for me. and everything and everybody around me? What is my best response? Can I choose to be miserable and be a victim and bad things are always happening to me? Is that what you want? Or can you go get help? Or choose, if you can't do it on your own, go find a hypnotherapist, get some help to help reframe some of those things.
Yeah.
NLP, life coach, hypnotherapist. So that's what we're talking about, is that we have the power to choose.
Yeah.
We have the power to choose. We may not have the power necessarily to, change the behavior or something to somebody else, but we have the power to how we're going to let that affect us.
Yeah. And I would say, for me personally, the fastest change I've experienced was with a hypnotist. Traditional therapy, that's all great, but for me, that's not like a fast-moving process. And I'm from New York, so I want results quickly. Like, I don't have time to waste. I don't have 10 years to be in therapy to get this change. And I want it as fast as possible so I can move on and do other things in my life. And I feel like hypnotherapy, it just works really fast.
And I think some people, they like having their therapist because they like it. They like having the person to lean on, or the person to talk to, the person to work things out with. But honestly, I think that if someone works with a hypnotherapist, they may find they don't need that person to lean on that weekly basis. And talk about cost effective, to try hypnosis. Hey, if you find that you still need your weekly visit with a regular talk therapist, that's great. You can have both, but you might find that you get faster relief, more immediate response in a positive way to boosting what you're working with another therapist. So they're not exclusive either.
Yeah, you can go to either or. It just all depends on your style.
And sometimes we refer each other back and forth too.
Yeah, if you want to have talk therapy and talk, for years and years, that's great too. Not one is better than the other. I just said for me personally, I wanted a quick result, and that was the quickest, fastest.
It is fast. For me. And that's why so many people that want to stop smoking or lose weight, especially the stop smoking people with a successful program, 3 to 6 sessions. Sometimes people in as quickly as one, but I still agree that they probably need to.
It's so funny you say that because I've never met a smoker that has gone to a therapist to stop smoking. Why is that?
I guess maybe they have an inherent knowledge that talking about it isn't going to stop it.
I mean, for the people that's watching, if you know a smoker that has gone to a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist,
to stop smoking,
or a psychoanalyst to stop smoking, please write a comment and let us know, because I've never seen it.
And if it worked,
and if it worked, and if they, they were in there for 5-10 years, whatever, to stop smoking,
they died before.
So I'm being serious.
Well, it's still not working, doc.
I'm being serious. Why does the smoker go to the hypnotist and not a traditional
because
therapist?
They've heard of the quick success stories that
people
stop smoking with hypnosis.
To resolve your issue quickly.
Yeah.
Think
You're
about
ready.
that for a minute.
Yeah, they made up their mind. I'm going to stop smoking, and I need to do it now. And who can help me do that now? Hypnotist.
Yeah, I don't remember them going and say, let me find my local therapist to help me stop smoking. Let's see it. And I just want to talk about it all week until I resolve it.
Do you want to stop? Do you want to stop your smoking? No, I really just want to talk to you about. Maybe,
that should tell you something.
Yeah, maybe
people.
Building up.
Think about that for a minute.
So my show is called Intuitive Journey with Desiree. Okay, and so you talked about how you got into choosing this. So do you have any good stories about how your intuition, how you just went with your gut sometime when maybe it wasn't like, what people were telling you, or you just said, I've got to trust my intuition? What was it, that transition? What were you doing before you went full on into hypnosis?
It's so important to listen to yourself. Many people will have the hunch, they'll be intuitively led to something and they don't trust it. They question it, or they ignore it, or they ask a friend. I think your intuition, when you get guidance from, again, source, God, power, whatever you want to call it, that's a direct communication for you to go this way or that way, whatever. And when you ignore it, I really feel like that's when you don't make the right decisions for yourself.
And you end up,
So, so for example, when I first decided to become a hypnotherapist full-time, no one in my family kind of, my
Were they
immediate
familiar with
circle.
hypnosis?
No.
At all?
That's
Yeah,
the
okay.
whole point. They were like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, I think I'm going to open my practice and I'm going to sign a lease, which is a big deal in New York, right? Because it's expensive and you're locked into it. So it's not like you can say, this didn't work out, I changed my mind. Like
a marriage. It's probably harder to get out of the lease in New York than it is a wedding.
You're going all in.
Yeah.
So when I just trusted myself, I said, you know what, this worked well for me. I'm just going to go ahead full time. It doesn't matter that I didn't know anybody personally and I was getting all this, concern from people like, are you crazy? Like, where are you going to get clients? How are you going to afford this? Like, and I just feel like I trusted myself. I signed the lease. I opened my practice like right away. And then here I am a decade later, still in the profession, but just in a different capacity. Yeah. And it really worked out. So I would say definitely that's one time where I really just listened to myself and just made the decision.
And how about the transition from saying I'm seeing lots of clients, I've got 5 employees like, that you had, and saying, I'm gonna start Hypno Biz. And because what a ball of fire this has turned into.
Girl, I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah. I talked to a few, because now I'm with my colleagues now, so I'm getting different advice and opinions, not just, friends and family members. So many of my colleagues were like, this is a bad idea.
No, really? And you're laughing at them now. Look, she's laughing at you now.
No, I'm not laughing at them.
No, kidding.
I'm laughing at, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. People that's not in tune with your connection with your source or your God or whatever will give you the advice from their perspective. But you have to trust your own communication to source that's telling you do it versus outside influence. And that's really the key here.
Exactly.
If I could stress anything to you, everybody that's watching, listen to yourself. Listen to source, because not everybody that's on the outside know what's right for you. They may have the best intentions, but they don't have that direct connection to source or the higher power. Higher power is communicating to you, not to them to relay it to you. Yeah. And that's really what
unless you're going to a reader of some sort that's going to help you.
Exactly. Well, my colleagues that I went to Hypno Biz were not readers, okay? They were just, they were just my colleagues, my friends, whatever. So they were just giving me their opinion, their advice.
Their fear for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Or their fears or whatever it is.
Oh, here, let me give you my fear.
Yeah, but
because I like you, so be afraid.
Yeah, but I've learned a long time ago to go within myself for the answers to source and not to other people. I welcome differing, voices and opinions and that like that. But the ultimate decision is when I communicate with my spiritual self. That's when I get the correct answer for me.
Yeah, well, to plug going further on this, because that is exactly what happened for me in making a major life change. And that's where my book came from. My book was the product of that. So go check out Journey to Joy, The Written Path. That was what came from me doing exactly that, was finally listening to myself. And I was like, oh, that person says this, or this person says that, or I'm afraid, what will I do if? And then when I finally listened to myself, I was like, it was like, like somebody buried you under rocks. And then when I finally listened to myself, I'm like, oh, thank you. Who just took the boulder off my chest? Like such a sense of not being lost and being free and saying, I'm light, like a helium balloon. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've decided to go with what feels right. Have you ever made the list of pros and cons? You ever done that one?
Of course.
Okay, so I get my list of pros and my list of cons. And sometimes I have a list of cons that's like this and a list of pros. And I'm like, no, forget it. And I go with doing it, even if the cons were longer, because sometimes the pros, they were weighted. You know what I mean? Like they're worth 200 points, where all these cons were, they ultimately didn't matter if it didn't fit what I felt in here. So I think everybody does it. They're like, yeah, but I really want to, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that so many times where you list the pros and the cons. And I find for me, I do it more internally now. So I just check in with my source. So I don't really write it down. I just check in and I just communicate with the energy, the spirit, like show me the right way. Give me a sign, give me a message on what's the best action to take or direction person to partner with. And I really feel like when I get still and I get quiet, the correct answer comes to me because I'm trusting, again, an intelligence that's higher than myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was you or someone else the other day that was talking about like just sending that intention out there and saying, you know, I'd really like to do such and such. I need somebody who is interested in working with me on that. Mm-hmm. And I think it was somebody else I was listening to. And then, you know, within a month, they got a message from somebody asking about the exact same thing they were looking for. Yeah. And it just kind of, you know, sending that energy out there and it you know, it will come back. It will come back if you just, well, you know, like to use the woo-woo wording, you know, aligning yourself with your true heart's desire will put you in that place where you're going to be more observant and more aware of these opportunities. Maybe they're there, but you're going to like push them out of your way because you're looking the wrong direction. You know, it's like somebody standing there going, hey, would you like $100? You're like, no, excuse me, you're in my way. I have to get to the cashier and pay. You know, you're not looking at what's there in front of you. And so being more open, being more sticking with your gut, with what you feel you know is right. Yeah. And going and not getting too tripped up along the way with fear and what ifs.
Yes. Yeah. I think when you have those fears and what if, you haven't tuned in with yourself. I think just taking the time to just pause, reflect, meditate, ask your source to communicate with you.
How's this feel?
Then you won't feel any of those fears because now you're rock solid on that, you know, advice, suggestion, or guidance because you're trusting it comes from source. Yeah. And source isn't going to lead you in the wrong direction.
Bad feeling. You know, I like to connect to the body a lot or instruct, you know, help people do that too. And, you know, it's like getting to understand, whoa, what is that weird feeling in my body, right? And if you think, okay, what's that feeling? If you are feeling uncomfortable about something, like you said, taking that time and saying, you know, what just happened? What's recently coming in? What did somebody say? Kind of go through your mind, like what information put that feeling in here that gave me dis-ease, and then weed it out, and then figure it out, and then you can clear whatever the issue is, or make an adjustment. You know, if there's like, oh, this isn't feeling right, like you're partnering with someone, and you're like, oh, this is great, something doesn't feel right, it gives you that chance to reevaluate because. But when you're feeling right in here, you know it's right. Yeah, exactly. You just can't second guess yourself. Exactly. So speaking of knowing it's right, tell the audience all about Hypno Biz and what's coming up and who it's for. Because some people might think it's just for hypnotists, but it's for...
It's really not. Hypno Biz, let me explain to you what Hypno Biz is and I'll tell you why I created it and why I love it. Hypno Biz is basically a place, an idea, a journey. It's so many things. And fun. Where you can discover the abilities to have more, to be more, to do more. So Hypno Biz is it's more than a conference. Yeah. It's more of a lifestyle. It's more of a concept where you're actually stretching your potential. And whether you come to the conferences and you do that, you meet wonderful therapists from around the world, or whether you do online trainings, or whether you connect with us in our Facebook groups, whatever it is, it's a supportive community where we encourage you to utilize the powers of your mind, your energy, to really create the life that you want to create. And we just facilitate that in many different ways. Conferences, the Hypno Biz magazine, the online community, you understand? So there's a myriad of ways where you can tap into these resources where you can, you know, live your best life. Yeah, so and that's what Hypno Biz is really.
And so tell us, I'm really so excited to be part of 3 conferences next year. The Hypno Biz New York, the Women Retreat and Conference,
Yes.
and then Hypno Biz Europe in
Yes.
Amsterdam. So these links are available, and I'll put them in the feed under here as well. I'll put the image and the link under here, but also you can go to the Hypno Biz page and
definitely.
find us there.
Our next conference, we just wrapped up Hypno Biz Canada.
Yeah, that's right, Canada.
Which was literally last week, so
and I just
haven't even unpacked
I just
yet.
interviewed Joanne Edie, who was your partner in Hypno Biz Canada, just a few days before that. So if you're interested in finding out more about, one of the ladies that was working on that
so we just wrapped up Hypno Biz Canada, which was October 25th to the 28th, and that was just lovely. The Canadian people are just such lovely, sweet people. I love being in that space. Next up is Hypno Biz Australia, which is on the Gold Coast of Australia in March.
If I was going to Australia, I would have not forgotten
I know, you would have remembered.
Oh gosh.
My first time going,
with
my partner there. Yeah. After that will be Hypno Biz New York, which is in Times Square, New York City, where it all started. And then we have Hypno Biz Europe, which is in Amsterdam. Never been to Amsterdam, so I'm excited about that. And then we also have the Women Hypnotist Summit and Retreat, which is July 25th to the 27th. And again, Hypno Biz is really a lifestyle. It's a community where you learn to live your best life. Yeah. And again, whether that's the conferences, whether it's our Hypno Biz magazine, whether it's our online community, whatever it is, you're just tapping into this resource, this wealth of knowledge from our people, where you kind of say to yourself, while I'm here on planet Earth, I might as well make it a great place because I can do this.
And, it's especially great for anyone who is doing life coaching, wellness, massage, anyone who is in the helping fields, any of the workshops you can really pick up and use. But even if you aren't a provider, most of the workshops teach what your provider would be helping you do. Right?
Exactly.
They teach you to understand.
So you don't have to be a therapist, right? I mean, or any type of capacity, life coach, psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever. You can just be a regular person that want to learn tools and techniques to utilize your mind, body, and spirit, so that ensure that you are living a great life on this planet called Earth. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
So, any last things you want to add before we wrap it up and go see the center?
Yes, I just want to say for everyone out there that's watching, you can literally be, do, or have anything that you want. If you master the powers of your mind, if you learn to work with the energy of the universe, the energy of your body, there's no reason anything should limit you in this lifetime. You can literally have anything that you want if you learn the proper tools and techniques in order to manifest and have that wonderful life that you deserve.
And ultimately, it's like I was saying earlier, it's how you choose to experience your life. Like I said, maybe bad things can happen, but how you choose to experience your life. Because there are some people that have nothing and they are the happiest people in the world. And sometimes people that have everything are so unhappy because of the choices they're making with their minds. So I agree. And I want to say thank you for being here, and I will look forward to seeing you on any of my, you get to see me on any of my Intuitive Journey with Desiree shows. And thank you, Selena.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
I know we've been having a good time. Thanks for joining me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.